making me question, is this real rain or is it artificial rain? Because the White House is now admitting to weather modification and spraying aerosols into our skies to block out the sun. Now, of course, this is something that I warned about over a decade ago, and I've reported on over a decade ago. And we've seen other countries like China, for example, cloud seed the Olympic Games. I've gone over research reports from Harvard University and MIT suggesting that they are modifying the weather and they're shooting particulates up into the sky, sometimes ocean water, sometimes other types of particulates. And it makes us ask questions in a world where they're telling us that it's man-made weather changes, that they're actually manipulating the weather with man-made technology at the same time, allegedly to stop it. And with all the craziness in the world, it's very interesting that they dropped this bombshell today. This is the White House. It came from Clean Tech at CNBC admitting that they're manipulating the weather and blocking out the sun. How about them apples? Now, as we've seen crazy weather events, keep in mind, we just had a 500-year storm, ladies and gentlemen, in Florida. It does make you wonder, and you start to question, could this manipulation of the weather that the White House is now admitting their plans on have anything to do with these very aggressive once in 500 year, maybe once in 1,000 year storms? And these are questions that we need to think about, because I don't know about you, I believe you should not meddle with things that God creates. Don't mess with nature, but not according to the White House. They're going to spray stuff into your skies to block out the sun. How about them apples? So this report tells about how the White House, I'll add a link in a minute, has been pushing ahead with their research to cool the earth by reflecting back sunlight. The White House Office of Science and Technology Policy is coordinating a 5-year research plan to study ways of modifying the amount of sunlight that reaches the earth in order to temporarily temper the effects of the weather. There are several kinds of sunlight reflection technology that they are working on, including stratospheric aerosol injection, spraying stuff into the sky, spraying crap into the sky. Who knows even what it is? This is what's so crazy about it. This was considered a conspiracy theory over a decade ago. Conspiracy theory, they would say. Christopher, they're not spraying our skies. They're not running chemtrails that I can see visibly with my own eyes in places like Phoenix, watching them buzz and crisscross the entire sky and block out the sun. That's a conspiracy theory, they would say. Well, not according to the White House. In fact, they're actually doing it now. They're actually doing it. In fact, on this topic, I have only recently seen chemtrails and blockages of the sun in Maui this year. I've never seen it before in my lifetime. I've been coming to Maui since I was a little boy, and we've got a lot of, wind and trade winds that blow stuff out. It's very healthy lifestyle out here, of course, water with the food and also the air. But I've noticed this year that you can tell that they've been spraying the sky, which the White House is now saying that they're doing. No one's even talking about this because the world's so crazy right now. You've got Trump being subpoenaed. You've got World War III. You've got the threat of nuclear war in Ukraine. You have Zelensky being turned into a freaking hologram, okay, in front of a green screen, like I reported earlier today. He's got time for that. And he poses for Vogue magazine during the war. Yeah, that people are actually missing this story. And this is a huge, huge story because, again, Jamie Dimon came on camera, and he's been on camera before. He thinks that there should be carbon credits. You should be taxed if you drive your car, if you use any kind of energy. They're taxing cow farts and burps overseas, and they're shutting farmers down. And then they're telling us there's not enough food. It's like they shut all the farmers down. They shut down the food supply. They lock up the economy over the last couple of years. They're like, yeah, we just have no idea where these shortages came from, guys. We have no idea why there's all these supply shocks and inflation. It's like it just came out of nowhere. And now they're spraying our skies, ladies and gentlemen. So the first type of manipulation and basically interference that they are implementing includes stratospheric aerosol injection. Now, sometimes they spray stuff out like from the ocean, Okay, other times they use, this is what has been reported, things like barium and other chemicals, there's a long list of them, to block out the sun, to cool it, for your benefit. Now, there are other types of options that they are deploying, include marine cloud brightening. I don't even know what that is, so let me know if you can tell me what that is. And cirrus cloud thinning. So they're manipulating the clouds, blowing crap into the sky, okay, and they're doing something with marine life as well. It says stratospheric aerosol injection. Woo, sounds kind of kinky. Involves spraying an aerosol like sulfur dioxide. That sounds natural. You know what's also natural, guys? Turds. Turds. In fact, George Carlin used to do a bit on this. Like with people that are health nuts. That's natural. It's good for you. You know what's also natural? Crap. A turd is natural as well. Stratospheric aerosol injection involves spraying an aerosol like sulfur dioxide into the stratosphere. And because it has the potential to affect the entire planet, often gets the most attention. And then it goes on to say, well, yeah, there's a moral hazard, but of course, don't you guys trust these people? I mean, they're doing such a good job with the economy right now and politics. Hyperinflation, job losses, infinite bailouts, 0% interest rates into infinity, world war, nuclear threats. The list goes on, right? Closing down the entire planet over the last couple years. I mean, what possibly could go wrong blocking out the entire sun that was created by God? I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, right? So the White House is coordinating a 5-year research plan to study ways of modifying the amount of sunlight that reaches the earth to temper these effects. So this is massive intervention. By the way, they're going to use your taxpayer dollars like they usually do. And I just find this very, very alarming. Very, very alarming that something that I was told, even though I reported on it, was a conspiracy theory, is now just fact. So you know what the difference is between a conspiracy theory and facts? A couple of months, or a year, or a couple of years. So this is incredibly dangerous. Also, I did a report earlier today. Of course, Donald Trump has been subpoenaed. This is breaking news. Possibly he will be indicted and or jailed very soon. This is definitely a worst case scenario. I don't even support Trump. I don't support the right or the left. But this, again, is going to create a toxic wasteland environment here in the United States, of which the mainstream media is going to blow up and create massive fear as they fearmonger to the American people so that they can accomplish their agenda of maximum brainwashing, psychological warfare, and control, which is absolutely what all this stuff is, guys. Psychological operations at the highest law of the land. Okay, this is very, very kinky, actually, stuff that they're implementing. So you got to be smarter than the machine and understand everything they said they weren't doing, they're actually doing. And I can list many examples of this. Oh, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing that. No, that's a conspiracy. And then later on, yeah, no, we're totally doing it. You didn't know we were spraying stuff into the sky? Yeah, we don't even know what the effects are of this. I mean, it might just, eliminate all life on Earth for all they know. Also, Joe Biden was meddling, I believe, in the upcoming election. He was attempting to coerce, according to Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabian leadership not to cut OPEC production of 2 million barrels a day until after the midterms. I call that, in my opinion, and many people agree with me, that appears to be some kind of meddling on an upcoming election because, again, you should take politics aside of price stability, oil prices, things like inflation or deflation, and the whole idea is that our political leadership is good and not corrupt, and they're actually maintaining price stability and employment and these kinds of things, which they've failed. They've gotten a giant F. In fact, this is the equivalent of the guy driving the Titanic into the iceberg and then being rewarded for sinking the ship. Everything these people in power have done has collapsed. Every implementation of their strategy and or philosophy has ended in disaster. Trillions of dollars worth of debt. Inflation, arguably hyperinflation. A petrodollar collapse. Okay, a lack of employment. A lack of confidence. Maximum fear. All these things I can list and continue to go down. So anyways, I just wanted to put out this quick report. I love you guys, and I'll include a link in the box below. Again, I know it's tough for a lot of people to believe this. But now CNBC has confirmed it. The Biden administration and the White House is pushing to spray aerosol particulates and possibly other toxic chemicals into the sky. And I'm sure nothing could possibly go wrong doing that. So as we see record weather events, we have to ask the question, has there been manipulation that's caused things like Florida? I'm not saying I know because I don't. But you know what? You put two and two together and you start to think, well, it kind of seems like maybe this is weather warfare modification. Maybe this stuff is happening because of the meddling and the things that are doing. Even my cat thinks so. It's not my cat, by the way. He's got feral cats that roll around. So they go in and out. They're all over the hotels and stuff. They're they're tough to get rid of. But even the cat agrees. Even the cat knows the truth. In fact, the cat might even be a lot smarter than a lot of people that don't see what they're actually doing. So anyways, I'm a big believer, again, don't interfere with God's perfect creation. Don't interfere with nature. Don't manipulate stuff that doesn't need to be manipulated, just like interest rates and Federal Reserve policy and all the things they do with monetary fiscal policy and all that stuff and everything else. It always leads to disaster, and it leads to adverse consequences that, of course, they caused. Which, look at what's going on now. Maximum wealth transfer, poverty around the world, second, third world countries sinking, running out of food, energy collapse, a long, cold, frigid winter in Europe, freezes, blackouts possibly being reported by CNBC. And I would argue, you know what? It's not like you could do all these things by accident. You couldn't be this bad. Like, for example, if you look at the Titanic, the captain, I forget his name, was full steam ahead, even though he was warned like 5 times. Dude, there's icebergs out there. Slow down. Don't run the Titanic into the icebergs. But he just completely ignored it. So it gets to a point where it's not even gross negligence at this point. It's got to be intentional. Because worst case scenarios keep on panning out. I'm expecting Godzilla to start climbing buildings in Honolulu probably in the next couple of months, as I've joked with my father a few times, because it can't get any crazier. Not to mention the UFO disclosures, the Pentagon now saying aliens are real. They told you were a conspiracy theorist before, but now they say UFOs are real. That they've got all these unidentified flying objects in the sky. They're releasing the information now. Not just Roswell and that conspiracy, but they're saying, no, it's real. We get them all the time. See how that script shifted and flipped again? So again, you got to think critically about what is fact and what is fiction. What's real and what's not real. What's truth and what is not the truth. And it's not just black and white. It is when it comes to the Bible and, of course, the truth of God as he has determined it. Okay, but science is a very fluid, changing, evolving, just like people are changing who they are on a daily basis and everything else. It's not permanent, it changes all the time. So anyways, that's my rant. I love you guys. God bless all of you tuning in. Please like and share. Got a lot of new subscribers, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. Mahalo. You guys rock. Jesus Christ is King. What do you think? Should the White House be manipulating the weather? Should governments be blocking out the sun on your behalf? I mean, they haven't even been back to the moon yet, guys. They haven't been back since 1971. They're going to spray particulates up and block out the sun. They can't even get back to the moon. There should be a Starbucks on the moon already. I should be having cappuccinos, hanging out at the hotel, and watching live feeds from YouTube about how great the moon is every single day and all the new advancements of incredible discoveries that they found up there. Nope. The NASA launch failed 2 times in a row. The fuselage part didn't work. Something else happened prior to that. We haven't been back since 1971, but they've got the gall to spray stuff into our skies. And by the way, a lot of you don't know this, but out in Lanai, they actually do have UFOs over there. They have something called the Farm. There was a huge UFO that we saw a couple of years ago out here in Maui Boo. It was giant football field length, came straight towards here, South Maui, and was completely lit up. Football field, and it's got solar panels on it because this is where they test all this stuff. So who knows what else they're doing? All over the world, not just here, but everywhere. So again, kick up your heels, tighten your panties, fasten your seatbelts and your underwear, and put your cowboy hat on because it's going to get really, really crazy. And again, hearts and prayers go out to that 500-year storm that cost billions of dollars and wrecked people's lives in Florida. I've got to ask the question, I mean, is it possible? I'm not saying that I know, but that weather modification and manipulation could possibly be directly causing some of these events? I'm not saying it's the case, but I'm saying it is possible. And you know what? As a scientist, maybe we should investigate it. Anyways, we know how science works, guys. Whoever's getting paid for a particular opinion is the science. Whatever they're funding and whatever science is being funded at any given moment is the science. That's how it works. Kind of like art. You know, if you've got a benefactor and he's paying you to paint, you're going to paint what he wants. You're going to paint him. You're going to paint the king. Same thing with science. Anyways, guys, I love you. God bless. But this is crazy. It's incredible. And now they admit, yep, they're spraying the skies, ladies and gentlemen. So I bet everything else is true, too, that we've suspected in recent years. God bless, and Jesus Christ is king. This is maximum propaganda, too, by the way. What they do is they say they're not doing something. They repeat it. And then they come out years later and say, no, we've been doing that all along. We told you we were doing that all along. No, you didn't. You said you weren't doing that. Just like everything else. Just like inflation was transitory and we now have hyperinflation worldwide. Oh, it's transitory. Everything's fine. Or no, we're going to stop inflation. We're going to keep rising interest rates. No, you're not. You're going to continue infinite bailouts, eventually cut, reset the system, introduce socialism, UBI, transfer all the money, okay, to the top 0.001% and destroy everybody else. That's what's going to happen. Links below. Share, like. God bless. Jesus Christ is king.